Okay, welcome back. Now, uh, very important property of Fourier transform, which we will be using many times in our future classes. That is property number 8. That is called convolution convolution property. So very easy property if you pay attention, right? So we say, for example, if we have an output signal of LTI, that is always equals to input signal convolved with impulse response of the signal, right? If you remember, we said in earlier classes that, for example, if a system is impulse response, right, h of t, and if x of t is fed into the system, then the resultant output is always convolution of input signal and impulse response of the signal, right? Now this y of t, if you remember, is equals to from minus infinity to infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau, right? I want you to know that this is convolution sum, right? This is convolution integral for continuous time signals, right? So we are going to use it. So if we say that if two signals, if one is x of t, its Fourier transform is x of j omega, right? And if there is another signal h of t, its Fourier transform is h of j omega, then we want to know that if these two signals are convolved in time domain, then what operations are performed in frequency domain, right? So we are interested in that. So for we know that y of t, if we wish to compute the frequency spectrum of y of t, that must be equal to from minus infinity to infinity. Sorry, I have made a mistake. If we wish to compute frequency spectrum, then this must be y of j omega, right? This must be equal to from minus infinity to infinity y of t e to the power minus j omega t dt, right? And we know for an LTI system, the output y of t is equals to convolution of input signal with impulse response, right? So we want to substitute that value y of t is equal to x of tau h of t minus tau. I want to write it again. I don't know why this 0 always arrives. This must be equal to from minus infinity to infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau, right? This y of t is convolution sum of input signal with impulse response times e to the power this signal minus j omega t dt, right? And this integral, right? This integral, this is integral for this one, and this complete term is value of y of t. We know this is convolution, right? Y of t, output y of t is equal to x of tau h of t minus tau d tau from minus infinity to infinity integral, right? So for example, now what we want to do is we want to say that, for example, if we interchange the integrals, for example, this dt is associated with only these signals, right? Number one this and number two this. So we can rearrange integrals, and this must be e to the power minus infinity to infinity, right? X of tau is not associated with this dt. What is associated with this dt is from minus infinity to infinity, h of t minus tau. Oh my god, again this 0, I don't know why this always arrives. H of t minus tau e to the power minus j omega t dt, right, times d tau. Okay, from minus infinity to infinity, h of t minus tau e to the power minus j omega t dt, right. Now you can see here is, what is this? This is shifted signal, right. What we can do is, if I replace t is equal to t minus tau, then dt is equal to again dt, right. This tau is coefficient, right, constant, so it will be gone away. For example, now this would be equal to, from minus infinity to infinity, h of t e to the power minus j omega t minus tau, right, dt. Okay, so this must be equal to, now if you see, if I multiply this minus with if I solve this, this must be equal to e to the power minus j omega t times e to the power uh, j omega tau, right. So e to the power j omega tau is not integrated, so this must be treated as constant, and we have taken out of this integral. This must be equal to, from minus infinity to infinity, h of t e to the power minus j omega t dt, right. Now you can see what is this equals. This must be equal to h of j omega, right. So this whole term must be reduced to, from minus infinity to infinity, x of tau h of j omega times e to the power here I made a mistake. Yes, I have made a mistake. For example, if we say this is t equal to tau, then this t must be equal to t plus capital T, this t1, right. So this must be t plus capital T. So here must be capital T, and this must be minus tau, right. So this must be equal to h of j omega e to the power minus j omega tau and d tau. Okay, now this h of j omega is uh, not integrated. This must be treated as coefficient. So h of j omega, from minus infinity to infinity, x of tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau. Now you can see this is again Fourier transform of, if you compare this with x of t from minus infinity to infinity, sorry, x of j omega minus infinity to infinity, x of t e to the power minus j omega dt. So you can see these equations are same. So we can, only running variable is here, running variable is t, and here running variable is tau. So it does not affect on omega axis. So this must be equal to h x of j omega. Now what we conclude here is that the signals, you can see here, the signals which were convolved in time domain, their associated frequency spectrum is multiplied, right. Solving convolution is cumbersome, right, but solving multiplication is very easy. So what we say is, we can conclude here is that convolution in time domain is multiplication in frequency domain, right? So convolution in time domain is multiplication in frequency domain. So earlier we left few properties. So how can we say that if we have x of t, or if its Fourier transform is x of j omega, and if we have h of t, its Fourier transform is h of j omega, right? Few books write only omega and few writes j omega. OpenM follows j omega, right? So for example, if both these signals in time domain are convolved with each other, then their associated frequency spectrum must be multiplied. So we would see when we discuss modulation, you would see the application of these properties very well. Okay, so the next property in line is duality property. Duality property. What does duality property say? If you remember, we transform few signals. For example, in time domain, when we had a rectangular pulse that existed from minus t1 to t1, its Fourier transform was sine omega t1 upon omega, right? And we plotted it when we discussed it in omega axis. It was a sinc function, right? Like this one. This value was pi by t1, I think. Yes, pi by t1, and this is minus pi by t1. And when we discussed inverse Fourier transform, we selected the same rectangular pulse in this time in omega axis, and we saw that if we have a rectangular pulse in frequency domain, and if we find its inverse Fourier transform, that was again a sinc function, right? So this must be pi by w minus pi by w, right? Pi, and its associated signal was sine w t upon pi t, right? The idea is, if you see that if you have a rectangular pulse in either time domain or frequency domain, its counterpart in frequency or time domain is sinc function. So the shape of the signal does not change, right? So we call it as a duality property. The shape of the signal is preserved, right? This is duality property. If you take this rectangular pulse in either time domain or frequency domain, or you find its counterpart, you will always get a sinc. So this is not in most of the signals cases, but rectangular pulse has this property, and this property is called duality property, right? So second property in hand is, sorry, second not, seventh property is Parseval relation, that states that if you find the energy in x of t over a bounded period, that must be equal to 1 over 2 pi from minus infinity to infinity in frequency domain squared signal as well. right? So we would solve this one, and if this is equal, we can see if it is possible. So what we can do is, one thing first of all we must remember, that if we have a plus ib and a minus ib, a plus ib, this is a complex number, right? And another is a minus ib. What must be the output of this? A square plus b square, right? So we wish to write this as integration from minus infinity to plus infinity x of t x conjugate of t dt. If you see, if this is z, then this is z conjugate, right? So if you multiply them, you get square symbol. So we can write it in this form as well. One thing I want to do is, this is deleting problem. Okay, so what happened now? I don't want this. Come on. What did I do? Okay, so now you can see I can rewrite it at x of, from minus infinity to infinity x of t, and this conjugate must be equal to 1 over 2 pi from minus infinity to infinity, right? X conjugate of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega and this dt, right? So we can write it. One thing we can note is that this x of j omega, right? This x of if we want to rearrange this, we can rewrite it as from minus infinity to infinity. Now you can see this is this t, this term contains t with respect to dt. So I want to rewrite it as x of j omega. This is considered as constant for this term. So rearranging integrals, this must be equal to, and 1 over 2 pi is constant for all, right? And what we are left is x of t e to the power j omega t dt times d omega, right? So if I have made a mistake here, if we wish to compute the conjugate of this whole term, right, then what we will get is x of j omega here, and this must be now minus, right? So here is minus. So we know that what is this? This is x of j omega, right? Sorry, x. Yes. What this term is equal to x of j omega, right? If you know the basic definition of Fourier transform, that is equal to from minus infinity to infinity x of t e to the power minus j omega t dt, right? Now you can see this is the same equation, so we can write it x of j omega, and this was conjugate, you can see here, right? So times x conjugate of j omega. Then if you multiply any complex number with its conjugate, you get x of j omega whole square, right? So from minus infinity to infinity d omega. If you rewrite it, we can write it as 1 over 2 pi from minus infinity to infinity x of j omega square d omega. Now if you remember this equation, we have seen in we've seen earlier, right? I don't know why. Okay, so you can see this x of t whole square dt or minus infinity to infinity is equal to this relation, and now we have derived this relation successfully here. So this relation is true. Now the last property and very important property is integral property or integration property. Integration property of Fourier transform. What does it states that if we have a signal, for example, x of t, and its Fourier transform is x of j omega, then if there is a signal y of t that is integrated from 0 to certain interval x of tau d tau, then its Fourier transform is what, right? So this is the property that we are going to solve today, right? So and y of t, can we rewrite this equation is integral from minus infinity to infinity x of tau u of t minus tau d tau, right? So we know that we have solved it in when we were finding the output response of LTI systems, that this signal exists from minus infinity to t, and you know this integral is from 0 to t, right? Now we can also rewrite it as, this is actually convolution, so we can rewrite it as x of t h of u of t, sorry, this must be equal to u of t, right? Now we know that u of t is equal to, this u of t is equal to 1 when t is greater than or equal to 0, and 0 when t is less than 0, right? So solving this u of t is a bit tricky. If we and now we know that that if these two signals, if y of t is equal to x of t convolve with u of t, then if we find frequency response, that must be equal to x of j omega and u of j omega, right? Because convolution in time domain is multiplication in frequency domain. The only thing we are left with is how to find u of j omega, then we can find the output response y of t, right? Now for example, we have stated in previous classes that any signal can be decomposed into its even and odd parts, right? So formula for even part is 1 over 2 x of t, right, plus x of minus t over half, right? And formula for computing odd is 1 over 2 x of t minus x of minus x of minus t over half, right? And we know if you compute, I'm just only drawing now even part. Even part of this signal is always half, from minus infinity to infinity. And odd part is u odd of t is from 0 to infinity it's half, and from minus infinity to 0 it is minus 1 by 2, right? Right? Okay, so come on. So for example, if you, for example, we wish to compute the derivative of d by dt of odd part, that must be equal to delta t. Why delta t? Because from minus infinity to 0, the output of this signal is the derivative must be, because it's a constant, from minus infinity to infinity there is no change in the signal, so this must be 0, and from 0 to infinity onwards it is also constant, but on 0 there is a shift from minus 1 to 1, from minus half to half. So half, if you compute half, the distance between half to half is 1. So, and we know the delta t is equal to 1, right, on origin. Sorry, in other explanation can be that, for example, it is the amplitude of this signal must be infinity, because on 0, if you compute y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1, so this must be infinity, and you can see area of this signal is 1 from 0 to from half, minus half to half, and its amplitude is infinite, so we have represented it with delta t, right, and it is the derivative, right, it's not the original function. And you know that if we wish to compute now Fourier transform of delta t, which is equal to d by dt of odd part, that must be equal to 1. We know that we have solved it, that frequency spectrum of delta t is 1, right? So we can say that by using inverse relation, that Fourier transform of, if you remember that if we have x of t, its Fourier transform is x of j omega, right, and d by dt of x of t is equal to j omega x of j omega. Now using inverse relation, we can say that Fourier transform of odd part of impulse unit step function is 1 over j omega, right? Because this signal must be now multiplied with j omega. Then when this j omega, then if you compute j, for example, u of delta t, then this j omega must be divided here. So this must be equal to 1 over j omega. This is the odd part. Now we are only left with his. Now we can say this is equal to u of odd part of j omega. Now what about even? Fourier transform of even part of unit step must be equal to Fourier transform of half. What does that mean? For example, you remember, if you remember that Fourier transform of e to the power come on, don't know what has happened to this thing. Fourier transform of e to the power j omega naught t for a periodic signal was 2 pi omega minus omega naught, right? We have derived that relationship in previous classes. If you want to revise it, you can go in previous classes and see, right? Now if omega naught is equal to 0, then what we get? Fourier transform of 1, right? Fourier transform of 1 is equals to 2 pi delta of omega, right? And we know that even the even signal is half over entire time period. So if we divide this by 2 here, then this must be divided by 2 as well. So this 2 and 2 would be cancelled. So the resultant is Fourier transform of even part of time domain that was half for entire t is equal to pi delta omega, right? Now overall frequency response must be the original signal is u of t is equal to u even of t plus u odd of t. Then u of j omega must be equal to the linearity property must be equal to u of even of j omega plus u odd of j omega, right? So u even of j omega is equal to pi delta omega plus, and what was the odd part? Odd part was 1 over j omega, right? So now if you remember that overall response of y of j omega was equals to x of j omega times u of j omega. Now x of j omega is this one, and u of j omega is 1 over j omega plus pi delta omega, right? Solving it, x of j omega over j omega plus pi delta omega times x of 0, right? Can I do that? Why? Because you can see delta omega only exists when omega is 0, right? So I have written directly with x of 0. So this is the integral Fourier transform of integral from 0 to t x of t dt, right? Now why I have done this rigorous work, laborious work? Because if you remember that d by dt of x of t was j omega x of t, right? Now sometimes we know that the integral and derivative are counterpart of each other. So derivative of x of t may be, some may assume that this must be equal to, sorry, this is x of j omega, that x of j omega over, because in derivative this is multiplied, in integral that must be divided, but this is not the case, right? There are some extra components also added, so this is wrong, right? The reason to solve this whole integral is just to let you know that because sometimes we feel that derivative and integrals are reciprocal of each other. So if the Fourier transform of derivative is j omega x of j omega, its integral must be x of j omega divided by j omega. That's not the case. We have some extra component as well, right? So to get this extra component, we have solved the complete integral. Okay, so I think it's enough for now, and for in next class we will be discussing about the discrete Fourier transform. Till now we have discussed only Fourier transform for continuous time signals, and if we conclude, we said that if we wish to compute x of j omega, that is only for that's for because Fourier series was only used to compute the frequency spectrum for periodic signals. It is Fourier transform that has helped us to compute the Fourier transform of frequency spectrum of periodic signals as well. And that is, if we have time domain signal and if we wish to compute frequency domain signal, then we use this formula that is called Fourier transform, right? And if we wish to compute time domain signal when we are given with frequency signal, then this must be equal to x of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. This is called inverse Fourier transform, right? This is analysis and this is synthesis, right? Okay, so some points to remember these formulas. If you are computing frequency domain, always remember, if you have omega on left hand side, then this must be always dt opposite, right? If we have time domain here, you can see we are integrating with respect to omega axis, right? If you are computing frequency response of the signal, this exponent is always negative, right? If in previous classes, if I have written this as plus, that is incorrect, right? If you wish to compute frequency response, this exponent is always negative. And if you are computing time domain signal, you are given with frequency response, this exponent is always positive, right? So these are the points to remember. We conclude it here. So if you have any question, you can ask.